Hey guys, Cyndi Williams here, the Wanderlust CEO. Today we're talking about team building tips that I love. So if you want to find out some tips that can really help you successfully grow a team, if you also want to know prerequisites you absolutely must have in place before you even think about team building, and if you want to find out why I think it's so funny that I won this award from Travel Weekly, keep on watching. That's what we're doing today. All right, guys, don't forget to take a moment, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell over on YouTube. We bring out new content every single week to help you with your travel businesses, and we don't want you to miss a thing. It's February here at the corporate offices here at Careers on Vacation, and love and Valentine's Day has exploded on the set, and all month long I'm going to be talking about things that I love. And I want to start by saying the number one thing I love is you guys, because I am laughing so hard. Travel Weekly has named me Cyndi Williams leading social influencer in the travel industry. You guys did this. This is good stuff. The reason I think it's so funny, and yes, we do a ton of work, we do a ton of content. Like, I get why we were on the docket to be voted in for this. But when I started my journey with coaching and consulting and growing Careers on Vacation to help you guys with your travel business, I was really intimidated by social media and we all think that, right? You guys, when you're growing your travel businesses, like Instagram's for bikini models and like, I'm not young and I'm not this and I'm not that. Like, we all have those ideas in our head. But I came to a place where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show up and share what I love. I'm going to try to help people, and they're either going to love it or they're not. And you guys have responded with so much love. So I am going to hold this with honor. And thank you so much for Travel Weekly. We also won 4 other Magellan Awards this year for our curriculum for our company over at Careers on Vacation and our Wanderlust CEO program, as well as Wanderlust Social. So you can check all that information out on our website. Just huge wins this year for the company, so that's very exciting. But today, we're going to be talking about with you guys what are some tips on growing your team, and all of my favorite things I've kind of put together for today's show. By the way, if you're new, type a little I'm new so I can welcome you to our community. And we want to make sure you're feeling at home here, right? But let's get right into this week's content. I want to start by saying, when you are at that journey or you're at that place where you're like, I have the heart to lead, or I really want to move from salesperson to CEO, right? That can feel intimidating. It can feel overwhelming. Like, where do I start? And honestly, this information is some of the best kept secret in our industry, because if you've spent a decade creating a beautiful agency and growing systems and failing forward and figuring out what didn't work to figure out what did, a lot of agency owners are not willing to just openly share this information because they're in competition a lot of times with you, or considering themselves in competition, right? But what we do at Careers on Vacation is we educate you guys. We actually have a program called Wanderlust CEO, which is a year-long mastermind that walks you through how to set up your agency. So we share this information on a regular basis with a lot of companies that come to us to consult to help them grow. So we see a lot of behind the scenes. We know what works. We know what doesn't. You guys know I own and operate my own agency. So I did that game of failing forward for a lot of years so I could figure out best practices that we now share with you. So I want to start by saying, once you have that realization of going, I don't want to be in the salesperson role anymore. I really have this heart to have a bigger company or to lead or get into leadership and train and empower other people to work in this industry too. That's when you know it's right to start investigating, should I grow my agency? Should I grow a team? So let's start by talking about the foundational things you really need to have in place as an agency owner. Before you even get started, these are some of the things that I want you to think about. Number 1, from day one, you need to commit to running an ethical and transparent business. And I'm going to be specific about what I mean on that topic. There are a lot of agencies out there who have really weird hiring agreements. They're locking people into over restrictive commitments. There are non-competes that extend too long or too aggressive, or commission splits are really bad. Like, you guys, do not settle for a 50-50 commission split. That's ridiculous, right? That's not industry standard, but a lot of times people get swept up into marketing, blah, blah, blah. But if you're going to start an agency, don't be one of these outfits that goes, "Oh, I'm going to try to do this." Because here's the thing. If you're just trying to go for monthly fees or you're just trying to go for that whole game, that's when you're entering like MLM territory. You don't want to do that. If you really are running a travel company and you're trying to grow a brand and you're trying to empower people, just do things the right way from the beginning. Have a fair hiring agreement, have a fair commission split. Do not try to lock people in or say you're going to sue them when they leave. Like, that's just bad energy. If you're really going to be a next level leader, you don't want that energy around your business. And we live in an internet age. If you're doing things that other people consider too punitive or too restrictive, it's going to get out. Our industry is not that big. The information, one way or another, will get out there. You know, I heard a story last week about an agent who had left an agency. She had gone work for another agency. Like, she gave her notice, she followed the information in her hiring agreement, whatever. But then the new agent, or the old agency, got wind that she was working for a new agency, and they called the new agency owner, sent them a notice that said, this person has a certain requirement in their hiring agreement, which, listen, if you have a requirement in your hiring agreement, you should stay true to that. But the point of the story being is, it was one of those really fishy agreements, right? And they said, I've decided I'm not only going to sue that former IC, I'm also going to sue you as the new place they're working, right? It's like, do you really have time? That's like scarcity mentality. Come on, don't do business like that. If someone wants to move on, just wish them well, like bless and release. You don't have time for that. If you're really growing a big business, focus on the staff that you have, keeping them happy so they don't leave in the first place. How you do that is from day one, run an ethical shop, have good agreements, have good splits, and have a commitment to your staff that you are there to support them, to help them grow. And that's what will help you build a long-term business versus this, low energy stuff, right? We don't have time for that. All right, number 2. This is one that goes, a lot of new agency owners will underestimate what needs to be in place before you hire your first staffer. I have people come to me all the time. Hey, my sister wants to work for me. My friend wants to work for me. I've been an agent a few months. I want to take them on under me. No, you're not ready. Let it marinate a little bit longer. What does it mean to take someone on under you? And the reason I say no, I think it's too early in that particular point in your journey is you need to know enough about your new career, about what you're doing, so then you can prepare your operation to receive new staff. The quickest way to waste a bunch of time, have a bunch of failures, have pain and suffering and more chaos in your business is to take on something before you are ready for it. So once you are feeling confident about your role, you feel good that you've been a great travel agent, I'm not saying you have to know everything, because you can hire and you can delegate and you can hire for different things, but you have to know enough about how the industry works so you can then go independent, set up your agency, and then these are the systems I want you to have in place before you hire that first person. You need to have a recruiting system. How are you going to recruit? What are your recruiting ads? Where are you going to source your recruits from, right? If we're just doing friends, I have friends and family. That's great. But the next 4 things I'm going to mention, you still need to have friends and family sign off and follow these processes. But have a good and strong recruiting plan and recruiting system. We call it having an employee pipeline, and how to set that up for your agency is really key, especially if you're trying to scale from 0 to 20. Or I have in our Wanderlust CEO program, we have agencies we've taken from 0 to hundreds and hundreds of travel agents under their agency, right? You cannot do that without having scalable systems. So recruiting is the first system. Second one is hiring. What is your hiring process? Do you have a legal hiring agreement that the attorney of your choice has signed off on to make sure it is in compliance with employment laws? You need to make sure. That's really important. These shifty things and things people are writing up, sometimes I'll see these contracts and I'll be like, a lawyer definitely did not sign off on this. It's like sometimes there's just illegal stuff in there, stuff you can't do. You don't want to get in trouble with that stuff. Don't try to cut corners when it comes to legality things. Have a strong hiring process, which includes those legal agreements. And then also, when they come through your recruiting channels, what's my process to pre-screen, interview, decide if I'm going to hire, what happens at the point of hire. That is a system. All of that needs to be outlined and it needs to be followed again. So we're systematizing our business. Number 3, onboarding. Okay, you got your first few employees. Now we're going to onboard them. A lot of people don't even think about this. They're like, you're hired, and then I'm going to show you a few things and where to get logged in, and then now you're a travel agent. Oh, recipe for disaster, right? No, if you're going to really run an agency and you're going to scale it and you're going to do things the right way, you need to have a specific onboarding process at which you usher new people in, you introduce them to your company, how do things work, and there's a lot of little pieces you need to think about from that onboarding perspective. The next thing is, how are you going to train these people? Now, this becomes one of those things that you should also run past your employment attorney, because remember, if you are hiring contractors, which most of our industry does, you are hiring contractors, you cannot require them to do specific training. You can make training available, you can make it optional, you can do some things like that. But what a lot of hosts will do is they will work with third parties, right? They work with a company like mine and they'll say, take this new agent training, right? When we work with our Wanderlust CEOs, we actually train their staff for them if they have that hiring program, right? So it's in there by a third party, and whether you're using ours or someone else's, but the point is, how are you going to get these people up to speed? And you have to remember, not everyone is a go-getter like you. You're probably a top performer. You have ambitions to grow an agency. You're going to have some people that they need a little more guidance. They need a little more help. You need to have that structure. So what is your training vertical of your business going to look like, and how are you going to systemize that part of it? All right, next one is performance management. Once they're trained, I cannot tell you how many agencies come to us. They've hired their first, I had one last year, they've hired their first 60 people, right? And they're like, oh, wow, we have all of these things in place, but we know we need to redo some things. We need to adjust some things because the performance management part was just not getting done, right? So this is one of those things where you really want to think about this ahead of time. What is my follow-up going to be? What is my cadence going to be to coach people, to help them reach their goals, to get them to that next step? What things do I need to make available in my agency to make sure I'm managing the performance across my company? So guys, those are the 5 systems you need to have in place. All of those have a lot of steps in them, and I realize that, but I just at least wanted to give you a framework today. All right, and I'm going to give you a bonus one. If you can be an agency that delivers leads, an overflow of leads that then can filter down to your agents, that's one of the reasons why they will stay with you forever, because a lot of them have difficulty sourcing their own leads. So if you don't already know how to do that, or if you're already generating tons of leads, more than you can handle, great. You already have a surplus, but you also want to think about, how do I market now, not just as an individual agent, but how am I supposed to market my agency so I always have a surplus of leads coming in and I can reward those out to my top performers and my best converters. So that's a little bonus one. Last but not least is your company culture. Understand, every company culture has a vibe. Out there in the travel industry, if I'm a travel agent, I'm looking for the best situation out there. Where's the best, if I don't want to be an independent agent, what's the best host home I can find? You need to make sure that you are great to work for. This is why the scarcity mentality, or those agencies with the weird contracts, they end up with just a weird vibe at their company, right? No, you want to have the like, hey, we are here, we support you, you're like family to us. You want to start cultivating those relationships with the people that contract for you, so they are going to be there for the long haul. If you're doing that part right, and you really have a culture of rewarding what you want, but also performance, but how you're supporting them, that's how it becomes a beautiful marriage. And really show them the path to leadership too. If you're a growing company, recognize that having the company culture, but then also how your organization grows, you will have to grow with it. Your organizational structure will change over time. When you have, like when we're working with agencies, if they have 10, it's a certain structure. If they have 50, it's a certain structure. If they have 100, certain structure. 1,000, completely different structure. Those are different marked areas in your agencies that you will kind of grow with. So if you have people ready to accept bigger roles within your organization, or maybe you're bringing on employees at some point to do some of the management things, if you are working on giving people development and things like that, they are going to be more ready for that, and they will see that path to leadership, and especially if you're promoting from within. Woo, I'm packing you guys with a lot of information today. I know that was a lot to hit you with, but if you're thinking about having a team, understand it is a big undertaking, and it is one where the information is very kept undercover in our industry. Not on purpose, but I will say, again, not everyone's willing to share the level of information. If you are thinking about doing this at a serious level this year, definitely reach out to us at Careers on Vacation. We actually have our Wanderlust CEO program. I'll pop the link up on screen here and I'll put it down below as well. You can go to wanderlustceo.com/start. And if you want to just talk to us about what your vision is for your agency, then we can talk to you about if it's a fit for you to apply for our year-long mastermind. Once you're in that mastermind program, we teach you how to set up every single one of these systems, and you're also able to source those amazing training kits, which is why so many of our Wanderlust CEOs scale so much faster out in the industry. I mean, we have more million-dollar, multi-million-dollar agencies than anyone I've seen out there in the industry. And that is by design, because we focus on results, getting you what you need to be the most successful in the least amount of time. But a big part is because we are training those agents, you're able to work on the business, and that's why you can scale it at a faster level. So if that's of interest to you, definitely check that out. Guys, I'm going to be doing stuff I love all month long. I'm going to have more stuff for our regular travel agents back next week, so keep on watching. Until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell on YouTube. Wherever you are in the world, I wish you so much love, so much abundance. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Hey guys, Cyndi Williams here. If you like that last video, make sure you check out all of the other content on our channel. And if you want to follow along and travel with me around the world and see how I run my amazing travel brands and get some great tips on how to grow your own, make sure you check out that other content. I'm going to drop a couple videos here. Click those links. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.